Yeah, good afternoon, students. I can see 7 people here. So, Ajay, are you there? Ramu?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So,
Yes, ma'am.
yesterday we were, yeah, I can see some Ajay, Chaitra, Ramu, Gayatri, and Jyoti,
Yes, ma'am.
right?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening so much. If you find any difficulty in my voice, just let me know. You can unmute yourself and you can, or you can send a message. I can see here. Okay. Yeah. Let me go to the third block. We completed yesterday, third block, the Indian novel. So first, second, third block got completed and last block is fourth block, Indian poetry and drama. So today is Sunday and I trust you're all at your residence and you got your book with you. So you can take your book. This is block 4, Indian poetry and drama, 1915 to 1990. So all of you have got the books with you. Anyone can respond? Can anyone respond here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, sure. So unit 15, page number. What is the page number? Got the page number? 113. Okay, block 4, Indian poetry and drama, 1950 and 1990s. Okay, yeah, let us go with unit 15, Indian poetry and drama, 1915 and 1990s, 1950s to 1990s. So what is that we are going to concentrate here in this unit? And this is going to be modernism and Indian poetry, modern Indian drama. And we can see how modernism, especially in the poetry and drama, Indian poetry and drama, what kind of influence is there from the society. And the objective of this is to introduce you to Indian poetry after independence. So it is post-independent period. And it surveys some of the main poets and their work, paying attention to language, technique, and content, while offering suggestions on how the poetry can be regarded as modern. Okay, so 3 important things we are discussing here. The first is attention to language, technique, and content. So this is very important when it comes to poetry. And let us see what is going to be there in the unit. And how many important poets? Not all poets are covered in this unit, in this block, but some important poets' work is discussed here. Okay, among them is Nizam Ezekiel. It changed to a time to change. 1952. It was written in 1952. Was symbolically titled. It called for and herald new form of poetry that despite working with language of the former colonial master, would be rooted in India's diverse culture, sentiments, difference, and tradition. Ezekiel marked a break, a change from the earlier poetry of Torudutt, Tagore, and Aurobindo. So Torudutt, especially Tagore and Aurobindo, their poetry is more related to nature, and Torudutt, again, it's complicated, and though it looks simple, the subject seriousness, the content is very heavy in them, right? And Aurobindo Savitri is considered as an epic, right? It's almost like a lot of philosophical understanding is needed while reading Savitri. Though the plot and the storyline is very simple, but the transcendental philosophy is very much visible in Sri Aurobindo's poetry, right? Much. Yeah, much of modern Indian poetry was metropolitan in theme and setting. The language of this poetry often tried to combine English with Indian forms of expression, as seen in Ezekiel in very Indian poems in English. The poets also use poetry to express anxiety, doubt, sometimes confusion about the tension between Indian poetic traditions and English language. As the century progressed, we see poets attempting the synthesis of English and styles of poetry with Indian topics and concerns. The form becomes more experimental as the poets grew in confidence in their writing. So we are trying to see what is difference between the old poetry, I mean the poetry post pre-independent period, and famous writers like Rabindranath Tagore and Sri Aurobindo, whose work is considered a classic, and even Tagore got Nobel Prize before independence. So how modern poetry is different from earlier post pre-independent period? Post-independent period is how it is different. Let us see here, because the form and content, the style is different, and it is more dynamic when it comes to modern poetry. And it is going to deal with not the contents which was regular, traditional, and conventional kind of philosophy is included, but we can see it's more rooted in the society now. Okay, let us see what is it. And the writers are more confident about what they are writing. And the technique is also unique when it comes to post-independent era. How it is different? Let us see here. Modernism and Indian poetry. Sri Aurobindo, Tagore, and Naidu constitute perhaps the most important precursors of modern Indian poetry in English. However, Nizam Ezekiel and others of his generation felt that mysticism and romanticism, the two most significant strands in the poetry of pre-independent period, were inadequate to the new nation. We can see many new themes and styles that characterize the poetry of 1950s and 80s generation. So here, 40 years, there is a transition period. We can see very clearly the concepts that used to be engaged by the other writers before independence was different. More romanticism and mysticism is not enough to the new nation, because the what kind of demands are there in the society? Perspectives are changing, and after the First and Second World War, we can see a drastic change even in the understanding, even in the global scenarios. Keeping that in view, after the independence, we can see the new concepts have arrived. So what are the new concepts? Let us see here. Are you with me? Are you with me? Dear students,
ma'am.
are you with me? Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Page number 116. You can go through that. Okay. A concern with the new nation cities, because again, there is a tension between rural and urban, right? So rural area is a backbone to the India, and rural kind of lifestyle, agriculture, and we can see the agrarian based society before independence. After independence, we were moving towards industrialization, moving towards the scientific temperament. Lot of IITs are built, agricultural policy are coming into place, and 70s and 80s, we started to see a white revolution. That is, milk is going to be different kinds of development is happening, growth is happening in the nation. So that is again reflected in literature. It can be poetry, drama, poems, or it can be in a novel or short story. For that matter, extension, we can see even the same thing reflected even in cinema, which is in a broader term, it's again a media, right? The quest for an Indian language and idiom, it's not more imitation of Western concepts, Western ideology, but more organic, we can call it now, or more ethnic in our own. That means it's about local language, or not an imitation, but a growth in Indian languages, especially Indian English. We are more concerned about Indian English here. So the quest for an Indian language and idiom, the tension between erudite, difficult poetry and a conventional style. When you read Savitri, just try to read some paragraphs of Savitri. You can understand the complexities of language there, how complex the language. But in the new poetry, you don't find that kind of difficulty, right? Maybe in your school days or college days, you might have heard about the Scorpion, Night of the Scorpion, Nizam Ezekiel's very famous poem, small poem. The scorpion is going to sting, and what kind of pain and agony happens with that small boy in that small village. So this type of regular day-to-day life activities are coming into poetry rather than romanticism and mysticism, which played a vital role by Aurobindo, Tagore, and Toruda. So there is a transition in even in dealing with the subject in poetry, and their poems are drastically different from the romanticism and mysticism. It's a very plain and simple, and there is no complexity with the new generation. The attempt to embed the poetry in local conditions and landscapes, the tension between traditional Indian and local values and westernized modernity. So the modernity is not that external paraphernalia, but what kind of an intrinsic worth is there? Intrinsic value is there. That's what they were trying to see from their own vision. The new poets have got their own vision, and their picture is different from their early writers, early poetry, right? Early Indian poetry. So it's more about an authentic or picturization of their own surroundings rather than the mystifying characters. The use of irony and wit. So lot of irony, because you can see 60s, 70s, there is a transition period, and again there was a war with Pakistan, and 72, again 77, you got 76, 77, there is a tension in the society because of the political differences, right? The emergency, and all this led to different kind of poetry, experimenting with the genres, and people are having lot of themes around them. Right now, can you just observe, what is your observation? What kind of poetry is coming now? Maybe you're reading newspapers or you're watching something movie, or your observations, just one or two examples from your side. What kind of poetry, what kind of stories, what kind of tensions, what kind of environment, what kind of literature is produced? Some examples from your side. Can someone tell me? What is your observation? What kind of examples we can give now? What kind of literature is coming? For example, you read Telugu paper, any paper for that matter, or Hindu, Hindu, which is an English daily, or you can read Express, Indian Express, or Times of India, or maybe any paper, Economic Times, or something like that. You see, Sunday paper is full of some magazine stories and all that. So what kind of stories you find? Or you go for the regular regional language, Telugu. So what kind of stories you read in like Sakshi, Inadu, Andhra Jyoti? What kind of poetry? Just you might have a glance, right? Maybe you're not reading regularly, or some of you are reading regularly. So what kind of themes you observe? Just some observations.
Present socio-cultural issues, ma'am, whatever that are there in the society.
Yes, I want you to define that, Ramus. What is socio-cultural conditions? That's what reflected in literature, right? So give me
Yes,
some
ma'am.
examples of it. Give me some examples of it.
For example, if it is right now about the war that is happening in Ukraine, or the
Yes,
condition of Sri Lanka,
yes,
the crisis or anything, this is one. And another one, during COVID times, it is about claustrophobia, and
hmm,
how people are bonding and how people are disconnecting themselves
hmm,
with the advent of technology, and how the technology is coming so handy
hmm,
to connect the people
hmm.
about the present trending issues, ma'am, whatever that are
Yes,
coming right now these
yes.
days.
Yes, perfect. See, you can see a difference here. Ramu rightly pointed out, lot of things are going on around us. Immediately, we can think about, like, war situations in Ukraine and Russia, and war veterans, and lot of chaos is going on around the world. Pakistan is one concern. We have a strong constitution, so our democracy is strong, and we are still in a stronghold because of the constitutional rights. Whereas that was not the same with our counterpart, Pakistan. It's always having some dilemma. It's always has got some difficulty, and it is it's always been a democracy is at stake for them. When it comes to deep down south, we can see Sri Lanka. Lots of the citizens are coming out for because of the there is a crisis, and lot of activities are going on, lot of difficulties for the civilians. especially hunger strike, that they're not having, uh, I mean, normal facilities are not given to them. Again, it is a failure of democracy. So we can see our own neighbors and China, for that matter, pandemic again. Fourth wave is coming for them, and Shanghai is, the people are worried whether they'll die with corona fourth wave, or with the lack of food. See, again, hunger strike, hunger deaths are happening. So these three things can always be an international arena. We can see that. When it comes to technology, how pandemic, it's a paradoxical situation. Digitally, we are getting connected, but we are not getting connected immediately to our next door, right? We are hardly, we are having a lot of difficulty in touching the people also, because again that leads to virus. So there is a paradox. Whether are we getting really connected? If digitally we are getting connected, why there is no human bondage? A lot of things, these kind of things can always come as a form of story, or in a small story, 1 or 2 pages in regular magazines, or as a poetry, or even for that matter, the movies that we are now trying to watch is all about post-independent, pre-independent period. Can you observe that? Lot of films are coming nowadays on pre-independent period, or it is again you're going back to mythology. Whatever the big movies that you take, they're going back to past. It can be, I'm taking these examples as a piece of literature, not as a film. Okay, so you can see very latest movies which is like a Chandamama Katha, Chandamama story, right? Chandamama is like a fantasy. Can you give some examples from media? Any one of you? Any film that looks like a Chandamama Katha? That means Chandamama stories, fantasy stories. Can you give some examples? Very big blockbusters in
Bahubali,
media.
ma'am.
Yeah, it's a very simple story, right? It's about one queen and two sons of a great queen, and again the two sons have got one person is a little greedy, though he is a strong person, and again it's not a very complex story. It's a very simple story, but you know how the director was able to take that height, or for that, is it a regular movie, sorry, is it a regular storyline or a fantasy storyline? What do you think?
It's a fantasy.
Yes, because you can see like a lot of things in that movie is it's not for a normal, that's, we don't find any kings now, we don't find any queens now, and so it's almost like it is maybe 1,000 years back, kind of a story. But right now they are selling the story, right? Okay, let us see another genre. So that is a fantasy genre, right? In literature, it is a folklore and it's a fantasy genre. Okay, pre-independent period storylines. Anything is there like that now around?
RRR.
Yes, this is RRR, right? Which is nowhere, I mean, it's only, they're just connecting the dots, but actually it's not a historical, or maybe, I don't know what exactly there in RRR, but generally what I heard is, it is not a historical document, but it is about, again, a little bit of history and little bit of fantasy, right? Or you can see they are again going back to historically, they are revisiting. This is what we call revisiting the history. They're not telling what happened in the history, but they are revisiting the history. It can be any movie for that matter, or something like biopics. Biopics like, can you give some example? This is again autobiography genre. Okay, so first one is a fantasy and folklore, prehistoric, like for example, Salman Rushdie's. What is the famous work of Salman Rushdie? Any one of you? What is the famous work of Salman Rushdie?
A train to
Midnight
Pakistan.
Children. Yeah, that is Train to Pakistan is Kushwant Singh.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
this is Midnight Children. Midnight Children. It's a very famous work by Salman Rushdie. And Rushdie is again an Indian writer who got settled in abroad and in London, and now he's residing there. And the very interesting thing in that novel is, it's a very thick novel. And the novel is All the Children Who Are Born Midnight, August 15, 1947. They're born midnight. That means exactly we got independence August 15th, midnight, right? So at that particular hour, some children are born. It's a story of that children, and they got a special quality. Again, it's a magic realism. Nose is for smell, right? But the nose is not for smell there in that character, especially in Midnight Children. You'll be very interested to read that. And it's a novel which started lot of questions and lot of interpretations happened with that. Kindly see that, because I'm trying to tell you what is modern and how the modernity looks here. So the themes are different, the characterizations are different, and you are revisiting the history again and again with a new perspective, and why they wanted to retell the story. Okay, I'll tell you one example and then I can go for the next one, because we are again running out of time. I should at least complete all the things, and the last class, this is last but one class, and you'll have one more class. So morning Tirupati was there. Any one of you can respond to me? Tirupati
Yes,
was,
ma'am.
yeah. Fuzzy was there. I just joined for a few minutes and I came out. What about Shriram? Shriram was there?
The
Shriram was
class
there.
went on for half an hour, ma'am. Later, I think
Okay.
sir was disconnected.
Oh my God. Okay, now it's, yeah, in the last period, Sujit will come anyway. So all of you were able to complete, at least I can see how many people here. Let me see. Yeah, 12 are now, right? So how many submitted your, I can see Ajay, Chaitra, Divya, Ramu, Gayatri, Divya, M. Divya, Nisi, Jyoti, Sajida, and Vandana David. Right? How many of you completed your assignments, or I want to submitted the assignments? Please raise your hands. I'm not giving any tough task to you. I'm just asking you to know, like, how many were able to complete. Kindly raise your hand. How many completed and submitted? Any one of you were able to do that? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. I can see here. Can you raise your hands? At least, I mean, half the way. You are half the way. Okay, good. Gayatri, Nisi, Divya, almost all of you are able to complete 50%. Why am I trying? Yeah, almost. I think everyone are doing good. That's great. Yeah, fine. I want. Yes, I can see almost all of you are able to. Kindly submit, because you are left with only 10 days, and all the assignments are very important for you for scoring good marks and getting good grades. 30 marks are dedicated to that. So it's very important to submit, before the deadline. Okay. Please submit your assignments. Read well, because your exams are going to be your second year student, and this is April, and it may be somewhere in July first week or second week you'll be having the exams, or maybe June last week and July first week, something like that. So hardly you're left with 2 months. Please do read, and assignments are going to help you out. At least you'll be opening your books. Many of you, I know, like, you are regular students, so maybe you are reading very well, but still concentrate now on for all the 2 months in examination point of view. Okay, let me go for, am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, please complete your assignments, all of you. Okay. Yeah, let me go for the next paragraph. So this is very important: modernism and Indian poetry. What are the themes? Maybe sometimes they'll ask you the themes and how it is different from the pre-independent period. This type of questions are going to come in examination point of view. Okay. Let me go for 119 page, modern drama. So how is this modern Indian drama? How we can define modern Indian drama? Within Indian writing in English, drama has been the weakest genre. While drama in Indian languages has a very old, rich tradition, plays in English have been far less voluminous. Many of the playwrights studied under Indian drama today are actually either bilingual or translated from their original language. Badal Sarkar, this is Bengali; Mohan Rakesh, Hindi; Vijay Tendulkar, Marathi; Girish Karnad, Kannada. So Indian drama has been interested in See, these are all very like Girish Karnad's Hayavadana. It's a very interesting or Vijay Tendulkar's. So they're all writers who started to write in their own language, mother tongue, right? Kannada is a mother tongue of Girish, and again Vijay Tendulkar, Marathi. And you can see all these dramas are translations. Many times it's not like, because you are more happy with your mother tongue, you're more expressive with your mother tongue, you can express vividly when it comes to your mother tongue. So they started to write in English, and maybe 50% of all the Indian writers and writing in their own language, and then it got translated into English. Sometimes Girish or Vijay, they themselves translated in English, so that translation always has got some kind of limitations. You don't get exact translation, right? Originality is always unique to particular for example, yeah, I think you know better than me, many places English movies have got their own flavor. It's translated in Telugu, very bad translation, you can see, right? So anytime were you able to watch translation movies in Telugu, translated movies of English into Telugu, like Jurassic Park or maybe whatever might be? So what is your observation when the English drama, in the sense English movie, got translated into Telugu? So do you find, is it equal, or is there any difficulty, or what exactly is your observation? Can anyone expand?
It cannot evoke the same kind of emotion, ma'am. Even if we just look at Gurujada Parao's Kanyasulkam in Telugu, it just gives, it evokes such a fun right from the beginning of the page. Whereas when it was read, the same novel, the same drama in English, it could not give such a kind of fun. And I think there is it does not taste really so good. It tastes really bland when I was reading in English, the same
Yes.
drama.
Yes, Ramu.
Even if
uh,
we look at the word Kirastani, when it was
mm,
read in the English words which were used in
mm,
Telugu drama, and then
mm,
when it was read in exactly English in English,
mm,
it did not evoke the same original fun.
mm, mm, mm. See, because it is a Telugu, rightly pointed out. Thank you, Ramu. Actually, why I wanted to ask you is, the certain tone will be there inside that language, right? While they are speaking, so it's not a translation. Transcreation is needed for the work. That's what whenever translation people wanted to translate, it's not makki ki makki. That means it's not like exact translation or literal translation. They need transcreation sometimes. So it's not about exact sentence translation, but the spirit should be carried. And many times it happens, it may not come totally because of again, every language has got its own flavor, and that flavor cannot be reflected in another language, because that flavor can never be replaced or translated. Translation, literal translation cannot happen. But whereas when it comes to transcreation, Gurjara Apparau's Kanya Shulkam has got almost 12 to 15 translations by different authors, and you can find one or two or nearly representing the original work, right? So a lot of bad translations also will be there. We don't even feel like reading that again. The original form is very good, and translations can be worst as well sometimes because of vocabulary, because they lost the spirit, or as rightly pointed out, it looks very blunt, right? So that always happens with many cases. But in spite of all that, drama wanted to get translated. Sahitya Academy awardees will always get their work translated into 16 languages of India. At least 10 to 12 languages they'll translate, because other side of the translation is important, because we'll come to know about the other tradition, at least to nearby, at least 70 to 80% can be we will be coming to know about their civilization, the process of thought process of that particular people and the society. That's the reason translation is important. Okay. Yeah, let me go for this modern Indian drama. And yes, almost 70% of the Indian English dramas are translations from the local language. It can be Hindi, Marathi, or it can be Kannada, and as well as Bengali, because these are all translations which we got from the original authors, the original writers are in their own vernacular language. Okay. Okay, what are the themes that are important in Indian drama? Nationalism, communalism, gender and patriarchal society, Indian history, politics and society, myth and traditions of India, and social concerns like poverty, women condition, caste, and gay rights. So these are some of the engagements of Indian drama, and there are a lot of grappling issues around them. It can be tensions, or something happened in far off place somewhere in Pakistan, or somewhere in Kashmir, and or one something bomb blast happened, or something happened which is nowhere related to South India. That means it's not related to Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, or Kerala. But in spite of that, you will find tensions in Lucknow and some parts of Kerala and Hyderabad, especially Hyderabad. You can see that whenever the communal rights happens, all these cities are alerted. Do you find that is it something different? No. So we are more connected in one way or the other, and the tensions may arise because of the grappling issues somewhere happening in North India. But irrespective of all that, we can see that's going to affect even South India, and that's maybe one reason, the communal rights time, and we are all worried about what is going to happen for our next door person, right? So communalism can again be a point. And 1 second, the battery is going down. Okay. So nationalism, communalism, gender and patriarchy. Okay, gender issues and patriarchal issues are, there is no boundary for it. It can be national, international, local, or whatever might be. Everyone, we can see the patriarchal issues around us and Indian history. So these are some of the important themes of Indian English drama by different authors. Okay. Yeah. Sri Aurobindo wrote some plays in blank verse form. Eric, King of Norway, Persian, and Savitri are the best known of these. Bharati Sarabhai, who wrote 2 plays, both dealing with social issues, the well of the people, and 2 women. In the post-independent period, we have poets and novelists who had tried their hand at drama. This is poet, Pritish Nandi, who wrote Rights of A, and the diaspora novelist, and G.V. Desani, and again is a musical, is known for Nalini, marriage poems, The Sleepwalker, mainly Don't Call It Suicide, and Dina Mehta, The Myth Makers, Snehalata Reddy, Sita, and Shivke Kumari, The Last Wedding Anniversary, all appeared in 1970. So these are prominent writers. We can see Pritish Nandi, and again we can see G.V. Desani is a musical, and Dina Mehta, as well as Snehalata Reddy and Shivke Kumar. So different writers were able to contribute to Indian drama as well. And this, though we comparatively, we can see the poetry, drama are not so popular as novel and the short story. Okay. Yeah. Manoranjan Das experimented with absurd drama, a genre popular by European American like Samuel Beckett and Edward Albee. So Samuel Beckett's, Waiting for Godot, all these are absurd dramas. Absurd means there is no meaning in that. Many times we don't know, like we are doing such a useless work all our life. We don't even know that that is an absurd thing. Absurd means we think there is a meaning in that, but we don't have any meaning for that. it's a very, very philosophical. Remember, it's not looking so simple, and sometimes it looks stupid as well. But no, philosophy is very, very deep, and you need lot of layers to peel before going to that kind of an understanding. So absurd drama, it's a very famous, Waiting for Godot is again a drama, and Samuel Beckett drama, and it's Waiting for Godot. What is that we do all our life is waiting. We wait for something to happen. We wait that it may happen with a hope, or we wait for something which is not at all going to. So it is a psychological as well as physical. Sometimes, many a times, it is emotional as well. So Waiting for Godot is an absurd drama. Absurd means meaningless, and there is no meaning in that. So this kind of dramas we can see, and this is a very, very this genre is very popular in 90s in Western philosophy, Western literature as well. Okay, so The Wild Harvest and Guru Charan Das, known for his prose work, did one historical play, Laren Sahib. So these are the titles of some of the Indian authors. And you can see 1970s experimenting groups performing at Prithvi Theatres and the National Center for Performing Arts, constituting a major movement within drama. Mohan Rakesh ran an experimental workshop in Delhi for plays in Hindi, and see Manjula Padmanabhan. So these are some writers, playwriters, and Mahashweta Devi also has got Usha Ganguly, for instance, right? So these are some writers which played a vital role in enriching the Indian English drama. Okay. So with this, a few notes, I am coming to conclusion, especially conclude this chapter, unit 15, with some of the important questions here they gave is, what are the key features and concerns of Indian drama in English? Or it's not that only these questions may come to you. It can be like, who are the prominent writers, playwriters, or dramatists in Indian drama? So they, even the examination point of view, that can again be a question to come. Okay. Okay. Let me go for the next chapter, next unit. So are you with me? Feeling hungry? I can't
Yes,
see
ma'am.
you. You're feeling hungry, dear?
No, ma'am.
Have a tea, and then we go for the unit 16. Okay. Yeah, we're just going for unit 16. I can see Gayatri, Chaitra, Jyoti.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so many people are here. Good, good. First year we used to have a good attendance, and university, because of the pandemic and again different reasons, different, see, dilution has come. You know what is your strength? MA English, first year, second year students. The Ambedkar University has got 4,000 students. You know that? Out of them, we find very few in online, and every center has got at least 300 to 400. Generally, people are not interested to listen, and they don't want to come to the class. They just need a degree. But remember, you're all English department students and they're language and literature students. It's not only getting a certificate, but how you're going to engage with your life matters, and literature teaches you well, because literature is always an inclusive kind of a engagement, and literature and language especially is going to help you in your life as well as in your career, professional and personal life. That's the reason I want all of you to read and complete within this year. Don't keep your backlogs, though you are not going to be treated as supplementary or something, but try to complete your assignments, try to complete your examinations, and do come out with colorful, happy results. Okay. Yeah, let me go for unit 16. Okay. Modern Indian poetry, themes and techniques. So let us see what is the focus of theme, what kind of themes are there in modern Indian poetry. Okay, it was in Indian drama. 15 is about drama. Now it is about Indian poetry. Okay. Indian poets since the 1970s has become more confident in their use of language and form. New forms such as the confessional mode emerge in the writings of Kamla Das and D'Souza. A strongly individualistic tone is visible in some of the poets, such as the early Kamla Markandeya and newer Rabindra swine. What we think of as a non-romantic mode, the neo-romantic, sorry, I'm so sorry, as a neo-romantic mode. The neo-romantic strain deals with love, failed relationships, individualism, and is often deeply personal poetry. Much of Kamala Das' poetry has been about the quest for love and fulfillment in relationships. We can note the following forms and genres in Indian poetry in India since 1970s and 80s. So Kamala Das poetry is a confessional poetry. They are confessing something to the audience. It's a very personal, deep personal, and sometimes it is very disturbing. And generally, Kamala Das is going to touch upon emotional and psychological needs of society and in general and in particular of an individual. So not only Kamala Das, but many people were trying to see the different layers, which may include about it's a neo romanticism. What is neo means new romanticism. So this includes about personal relationships or failed relationships or not working in that particular situation, especially the individualism. This individual independent characters were not portrayed so strong in the before pre-independent or post-independent periods. After 80s, we can see these Western concepts coming around us, right? I'll just give one example of collective consciousness and individual, or we can call independent or individual personality. For example, 70 years back, just think about 70 to 80 years back. That means before independence. All our house, whoever is listening to me in our class, I can see how many people, 12 people, right? So all our families were almost, it's a combined family. You are finding your grandfather, grandmother, your cousins are with you, and your father's father. I'm speaking about your father's group, okay? So it's 70, 80 years back, before independence. It's a combined family. It's not a nuclear family, father, mother, one child or two children. No, it's about grandfather, grandmother, uncles, aunts, niece, nephew, all the people, at least 20 to 25 people is a family, right? And collectively they are having an asset. Collectively they do the work. It can be kitchen, or it can be the agriculture, it can be the business. They're not divided, right? So it's always about inclusion. So that society reflected that. But do you find any what you call combined families now? Any part of India? Very few, right? So what is the advantage of combined family, and what is the advantage of nuclear family? Can someone tell me? This is again related to literature. Remember, this is directly related to our behavioral and psychological skills. Okay, so tell me, what are the can you give some examples? Because I'm going to teach you new themes and techniques. We are discussing new themes and techniques of poetry, and this is one of the important concepts. So what do you think? Combined family, right?
In
What are the
combined
uses?
family, they are very happy and peaceful because any అదే ఏ కష్టం వచ్చినా సరే ఎవరైనా ఉంటారు అన్న కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ ఉంటది కాబట్టి they feel happy.
Divya, what you said is perfectly right, Amma. What do you think, like, is there any difficulty in nuclear family? What do you think? How is nuclear family now?
Nuclear family very lonely, madam, nowadays. Children also, either elders also, couples also, everyone having some problems, and ఉన్నోళ్ళు ఒక్కరే ఉంటారు. బట్ కొన్ని చెప్పుకోగలరు, కొన్ని చెప్పుకోలేరు. ఇంట్లో లేడీస్ ఉంటే చెప్పుకోగలరు, లేకపోతే ఎవరికైనా చెప్పాలంటే ఆ పీర్ గ్రూప్ లేకపోవడం వల్ల కూడా ప్రాబ్లమ్స్.
ప్రెషర్ ఉంటది, ప్రెషర్ ఉంటుంది, స్ట్రెస్ కూడా ఉంటుంది కదా. ఓకే, ఎస్. సో అగైన్ యూ కెన్ సీ ద డిఫరెన్స్, లైక్ కౌన్సిలింగ్. మనం ఇప్పుడు అందరూ కూడా సైకాలజిస్ట్ దగ్గర కౌన్సిలర్స్కి వెళ్తున్నారు. పిల్లలకి స్ట్రెస్ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది అనేసి. ఐ కెనాట్ యూస్ తెలుగు హియర్, సో సమ్ టైమ్స్ ఐ మే. యా, వాట్ యూ సెడ్ ఈస్ రైట్. ఓకే, See, there is always a counseling used to happen with your grandmother. You are not performing well in your classroom, and you came home and literally you are crying like a boy. I know, like a girl, small girl, you are crying and like, I'm really pathetic about the situation. I'm unable to get my good marks or something. You know what the elders will tell? It's okay, you perform next time well. So this kind of moral boosting was there in a combined family. Or you can find other way also. You know, there is always a collectively used to fight with any of the problems, right? It's not like there is no need. Now you want to build a house, okay? You are an young student here and you'll get some job, and so you want to build a home, right? So a house, okay? So who is going to take the responsibility now? Just give me one example. Who will take the responsibility of building a house nowadays? Who are the primary
Individuals, ma'am.
individuals? Yeah, contractor. Yeah, that's fine. But I'm asking about who will take. Is it individually or is it collectively?
Individually.
Individually. It's only about husband and wife, and they will have lot of struggle, whether they will be quarreling with the parents. Sometimes we find this kind of litigations all the time. Every time, I know the human relations are become complicated. People are more about, you know, the moment they get married, they think like they are separated from the parent, or they think like they want to have a space, and they don't want to live with their parents because they think like, again, their priorities may change. So this is what globalization, especially the independent individualistic mentality, this is not an Indian concept, remember. This is not Indian concepts. These are westernized concepts, which started in 1900s, we can see in England or Western countries, but gradually now we can see now even in 2022. Now after the globalization and liberalization, everyone has got their own independent, it's not wrong, but we can see the changing times. Change is inevitable, but how better we can perform in our own personal life matters. That's the reason these are some of the new themes in poetry. And I want all of you to observe. See, we cannot come to conclusion like nuclear families are not good. No. In one way, education, you know, less number, only one or two children at home. Maybe that is the reason education was given importance. 70 years back, education is not that important, right? It's only like they used to, it's like everyone used to work something or the other, and they used to earn something, and it's a, you know, they used to have a combined close families where no one used to question other person who is lethargic. But now it is not so. Everyone has to do some work because it's a nuclear family. Either husband or the wife both have, or sometimes both of them have to work just for hand to mouth existence and little bit of comfort. But whereas in the and now the needs are different, right? Even needs are different. 100 years back, what is the basic need? What are the basic needs 100 years back? Basic
Food
needs
and
of human.
clothing.
Yeah.
Food and
Food,
shelter.
clothing, shelter, right? Good food, clothing, and shelter. That's the basic need. Now, what are the basic needs of 2022? Tell me, what are the basic needs? Basic
Internet,
needs.
ma'am.
Okay, yeah. Food,
Internet,
clothing,
mobile,
yeah,
vibes,
yeah.
free money,
Mm, mm.
everything. Nihilism towards nihilism.
Yes, yes. Yeah. I have one more question. Other than Ramu, I want someone to respond now. What are the other needs of day-to-day life? Any one of you. ఏ అవసరాలు ఉన్నాయి మనకి ఇప్పుడు? ఏ అవసరం ఉంది? కరెంట్ లేకుంటే ఉంటామా మనము?
No.
నో. ఓకే, డన్. సో కరెంట్ లేకుండా ఉండగలమా? కరెంట్ లేకపోతే ఏమవుతుంది?
ఉండగలం కానీ అలవాటు పడిపోయాం కాబట్టి ఉండలేం.
ఎస్, దిస్ వర్డ్ ఐ వాంట్ యూ, ఐ వాంట్ ఫ్రమ్ యూ. యా, ఇది అలవాటు పడిపోయాం కాబట్టి మనం ఉండలేం కదా. బట్ జనరలీ దివ్య, యాజ్ రైట్లీ సెడ్ బై దివ్య, ఇట్స్ లైక్ సంథింగ్ విచ్ వి థింక్ ఇట్స్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. మనం అనుకున్నాము, అసలు మనం బయటికి పోలేకపోతే అసలు ప్రపంచం అంతా నిలిచిపోతుంది అని. మరి మార్చి 23rd నుంచి బయటకు వెళ్ళలేదు మనం 2020లో. ఏమైనా నిలిచిపోయిందా?
No, ma'am.
See, again, so that's again in nature is giving a high call for all of us, right? We think like electricity is important and money is very, very important. And we are just running a rat race. Like, you know, I want to have a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom or a big car, lot of money. So all these things are important, but they are not needs, right? And finally, what we have done for almost 40 days in the first wave is we are not touching anyone. We are not talking to anyone. We are not even wanted to go out and speak to anyone without a mask and without hand wash, right? So can you see that we became basic human beings? Just, you know, if the milk is going to come, we are afraid, like maybe it's coming in a packet or something. Then we'll wash the packet, we wash our hands, we wash everything under the sun, and you know, we are more cautious of, like, you know, at the time, what is the basic need at the time of first wave of pandemic? What is basic?
Sanitizer, ma'am.
Yeah, sanitizer. And what is other basic needs? Again, food, clothing, shelter. Food, right? Food is very, very important.
Yes, ma'am.
Food is very important, and you don't know what will happen after 10 days. The market is not open, and they are not even giving you the relaxation after 3-4 days, not even 1 hour. Then do you think like we can survive? They're not giving relaxation. No, we can't. See, water should be there, but at that time also, emergency services like electricity was there for us, isn't it so? Water supply was coming to us. Municipal water is coming to us. Electricity is happening. In spite of all that, we are inside our 4 walls. Think about the people who don't have 4 walls. I just want to think about you. This is again a literature, okay? At least manaku illu undi, 4 రూములు ఉన్నాయి. మనం 4 రూమ్లలో మనకు పాలు ఇంటికి వస్తున్నాయి, నీళ్లు మన ట్యాప్ నుంచి వస్తున్నాయి, కరెంటు ఉంది, ఫ్యాన్ ఆడుతూ ఉంది, మనం ఇంటర్నెట్లో ఏదైనా చూసుకోగలుగుతున్నాం, టీవీ కూడా వస్తూ ఉంది. సో మనకు భోజనం ఉంది, ఉండడానికి ఇల్లు ఉంది, సేఫ్టీ కూడా ఉంది, ఇంకా చేతులు కడుక్కోవడానికి నీళ్లు ఉన్నాయి, బయటికి వెళ్తే శానిటైజర్ ఉంది, ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఉన్నాయి మనకు. ఇవేమీ లేకుండా ఉన్న వాళ్ళ కొన్ని లక్షల మంది పైన ఏ మాత్రము అంటే ఏ ఇల్లు లేకుండా వాళ్ళు మైగ్రేట్ అయ్యి వచ్చినటువంటి మనుషులు అనుకోండి, మైగ్రేట్ అయిన ఎంప్లాయీస్ అనుకోండి. సో చిన్న పిల్లలు ఉంటారు, ప్రెగ్నెంట్ విమెన్ ఉంటారు, పొద్దున వాళ్ళు సాయంకాలం వరకు పనిచేస్తే వాళ్ళకు వచ్చే ఆ కొంచెం అమౌంట్లో వాళ్ళు ఆ రోజుకు తెచ్చుకొని తినేసి మళ్ళీ మరుసటి రోజు పొద్దున పని చేస్తారు వాళ్ళని. సో మనం డిగ్నిటీ ఆఫ్ లేబర్ తీసుకుంటే అక్కడ పని దొరకక వాళ్ళు కొన్ని వేల కిలోమీటర్లు మన దగ్గరకు వచ్చి ఉంటారు. ఇక్కడ కావచ్చు పెద్ద పెద్ద సో కాల్డ్ సిటీస్కి, డిస్ట్రిక్ట్ హెడ్ క్వార్టర్స్కి వచ్చి ఉంటారు. మరి వీళ్ళ బేసిక్ నీడ్ ఏముంటుంది అప్పుడు?
Food only, ma'am.
కదా, ఫుడ్ ఉంటుంది, ఇంకొకటి చిన్న పిల్లలు ఉంటారు అనుకో, షెల్టర్, ఇంకొకటి. ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఐ వాజ్ దేర్ ఆన్ ద హైవే ఫర్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ 20 days గివింగ్ ద ఫుడ్. నార్త్ ఇండియన్స్ మనలాగా నార్త్ ఇండియన్ వర్కర్స్ ఉంటారు ఇక్కడ మనకు కదా, కొన్ని లక్షల మంది హైవే మీద నడుచుకుంటూ వెళ్ళారు ఆ టైంలో. కాళ్ళకు చెప్పులు లేకుండా ఎండలో కూడా నడిచారు వాళ్ళు ఏప్రిల్ మేలలో. సో ఆ టైంలో ఫుడ్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ చేసేవాళ్ళం మేము, మనందరం కూడా చేసింటాం ఫుడ్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్. ఆ టైంలో మనం ఏం చేసామంటే పులిహార, దట్ మీన్స్ అగైన్ లెమన్ రైస్, కర్డ్ రైస్ or some rice we used to give them, and then we used to give some water to them while they are traveling or while they are walking, right? Many of them were unable to eat that. Why do you think? You have observed something about the lot of stories, you know, we can see there. Why they went, that is again a question. ఎందుకు వాళ్ళు ఇక్కడ నుంచి వెళ్ళిపోయారు, ఎందుకు నడిచారు, అన్ని వేల కిలోమీటర్లు నడుచుకుంటే ఎందుకు వెళ్ళిపోయారు? అసలు వాళ్ళ ఆస్తి అంతా కూడా ఒక చిన్న చేతిలో బ్యాగు, చిన్న పిల్లలు, ఒక చిన్న ఏ మనిషి ఎంత మోయగలుగుతారో అంత మాత్రమే వాళ్ళ లగేజ్ ఉన్నది. అంటే వాళ్ళ లైఫ్ స్టైల్ చూడండి ఒకసారి, మీరు అందరు గమనించాలా. దిస్ ఇస్ వాట్ లిటరేచర్ టీచర్స్ అస్. ఓకే, సో వాళ్ళకి ఏం కావాలి, ఎందుకు వాళ్ళు పులిహార పెరుగన్నం తినలేదంటే వై దే వర్ అనేబుల్ టు ఈట్ లెమన్ రైస్ అండ్ కర్డ్ రైసెస్. ఎవ్రీ డే దే కాంట్ ఈట్ బికాస్ దే ఆర్ మోర్ వీట్ ఓరియంటెడ్ పీపుల్. దే ఈట్ చపాతి పుల్కాస్, రైట్? ఆర్ యూ ఏబుల్ టు లిసన్ టు మీ?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, మనము పెరుగన్నము పులిహార వాళ్ళకి ఇస్తాం. ఎందుకు? అది చెడిపోదు, తొందరగా పోదు అన్న ఉద్దేశంతో వాళ్ళకి ప్యాకెట్స్ కట్టడానికి ఈజీ అవుతుందని. కానీ వాళ్ళు తినలేరు. చాలా మంది తినలేరు. కొద్దిగా తింటారు, తర్వాత కొంచెం తిన్నాక పడేస్తారు వాళ్ళు. మనకేమనిపిస్తుంది అంటే, చిచి వీళ్ళేంటి, మనము ఇంత కష్టపడి భోజనం తెచ్చిస్తే వీళ్ళు కొంచెం తిని కొంచెం పడేస్తున్నారు, వీళ్ళకి ఇవ్వడం ఏంటి ఇలా చేస్తున్నారని కూడా మనకు అనిపించచ్చు. బట్ మనం వాళ్ళు ఏం తింటారు, మనం ఏమి ఇస్తున్నాం? సో ఇవన్నీ ఎప్పుడైనా ఆలోచించారా మీరు? మీకు ఇట్లాంటి ఎప్పుడైనా క్వశ్చన్స్ వచ్చాయా? ఎప్పుడైనా అనిపించిందా ఎవరికన్నా?
అనిపించలేదు.
ఆలోచించండి. ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఇప్పుడు కూడా చూడండి, ఈ పాండమిక్ తర్వాత పిల్లలు స్కూల్ పోవడం అస్సలు ఇష్టపడడం లేదు, తెలుసా మీకు? పిల్లలు అస్సలు దే డోంట్ వాంట్ టు గో స్కూల్. మెనీ ఆఫ్ దెమ్ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు గో స్కూల్. They want an easy pass. Yes, that is a big challenge to this social social fabric now. See, ఈ 2 years లో వాళ్ళు ఈజీగా పాస్ అవ్వడం అనేది అర్థమైపోయింది వాళ్ళకి. అది ఫర్ వాట్ ఎవర్ మైట్ బి ది రీజన్. ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసెస్ వాళ్ళు ఇష్టం ఉంటే వింటారు, లేకపోతే బ్యాండ్విడ్త్ లేదు అని కట్ చేయొచ్చు వాళ్ళు. వేరాజ్ స్కూల్స్ మాత్రం అంతే ఫీజు వసూలు చేస్తాయి, రైట్? ఈ తర్వాత కూడా ప్రెషర్ ఏముంటుందంటే, అట్లీస్ట్ ఇంకొక 2 years వరకు స్టూడెంట్స్ ని పాస్ చేయాలి కంపల్సరీగా. ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళు రారు, క్లాస్ కి ఉండాలని కూడా అనుకోరు, పాస్ అయిపోవాలా అనుకుంటారు. 50% ఆఫ్ ద బిహేవియరల్ స్కిల్స్ ఆఫ్ ద స్టూడెంట్స్ హావ్ చేంజ్. అగైన్ దిస్ ఇస్ ఏ లిటరేచర్ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ వ్యూ. దెర్ ఈస్ ఏ చేంజ్ ఇన్ బిహేవియర్, సైకాలజీ, ఎమోషనల్లీ కూడా. మనం కూడా అంతే కదా. మనకు 5 days హాలిడేస్ వచ్చాయనుకోండి, 6th day మీరు ఆఫీస్కి వెళ్ళాలా. హౌ డూ యూ ఫీల్? యూఆర్ ఆల్ 25+ అనుకుంటున్నా నేను. 25 తర్వాత ఉంటారు, 20-25 మధ్యలోనో 30 మధ్యలో ఉంటారు ఇయర్స్ అనుకుంటున్నా. సో ఆ ఏజ్ గ్రూప్ వాళ్ళు మీరు ఏదో జాబ్ చేస్తున్నారు. సో మీకు అనుకోకుండా యూ గాట్ హాలిడే ఆన్ 14th of March, April, because Ambedkar Jayanti, then again Good Friday, and Saturday is a holiday and Sunday is a holiday. Monday you have to go. Tomorrow you have to go to your office, because after 4 days how do you feel when you go early morning to an office? How do you feel generally, if you are honest with yourself? Abba, 4 days
Lethargic, ma'am.
Yeah, see the same thing. So manam ippudu pillalni kuda atlane artham chesukovala. You should always remember, right? Vandana rightly said, we feel lethargic, we don't feel interested, and even we feel like early mornings in summer, we don't want to woke up early in the morning. We feel very good, comfortable at bed, on bed, right? We don't want to come out. Then think about the small kids. It can be small kid in the sense, it can be 14 years, 15 years, or 20 years, or whatever might be, before 18 years, teenagers also included here. So that is a human psychology. If something is coming to you without effort, they wanted to take it, right? So if it is becoming a habit, then what will happen to education system? All these are going to be new themes in the pandemic. Remember, if you're going to read any of the stories in your own vernacular paper, it can be Inadu or Andhra Jyoti, you see different kinds of stories also, very clear from very, very contemporary as well. Okay. Yeah, let me go for themes and techniques of poetry on those days. Page number 123. Okay. So Kamaladas poetry is a confessional poetry, and D'Souza's also confessional poetry. So this speaks about, it's not about bangle senders, it's no more about bangle seller. It's about, why the power is not there? See, I'm taking your class and power is not there, and my laptop is going to dry. Again, see, it is again a difficulty. I'm trying to reach many of you through the internet, through the Zoom platform. And if the power is going to fail and my battery is going to come down, again, this is a lacuna in education system now, right? So online teaching is difficult when the power has got battery is down and power is gone, or you don't have an internet, or you don't have a proper connectivity. Again, that will be a problem, irrespective of whatever might be. And I don't know whether you're listening to me or not, right? I can't see you. Even if I ask you to open your camera, the attention span of a student is going to change whenever you are going to be in online, right? I'll give one example and then we'll go for this poetry, right? How many of you, by taking your mobile for every half an hour, are you going to check your WhatsApp status or not? WhatsApp status in the sense, is there any update in the WhatsApp, or we do it or not? All of us, including me. Do we check our mobile regularly?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
What is always, right? Okay. Now we are all agreeing on this point. So it can be for 10 minutes, or it can be for 5 minutes, or it can be for 15 minutes. Even in the mid of the night, you wanted to see what is happening. What will happen if you don't check your WhatsApp? Just I want to ask you this question. This is again a literature thing. I'm just a simple question I'm asking you. What will happen if you're not going to check your mobile for 12 hours? Not one day.
Nothing will happen, ma'am.
Nothing will happen, right? But why we wanted to get, see, this is again, nothing will happen. Ajay, you rightly said nothing will happen. But how many of us are aware of that? Are we not feeling like, oh, WhatsApp ravatledu, connectivity ledi ikkada, asal information undatledu? So what are the maximum information that you get by WhatsApp? Good morning, good afternoon. Other than good morning, good afternoon.
Maybe some messages from the office.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's an office hour. 10 to evening 5 o'clock, some office messages we get. Other than that, what are the major messages you get? And don't you think like we are wasting a lot of time on net?
Yes, we are conditioned to check the status.
Yes, yes. This is perfect answer, Ajay. Conditioned our mind. We almost conditioned our mind, right? See, some people will be like Instagram, how many likes, and Twitter, how many people are following. Instagram, how many people are following. In Facebook, how many likes are there, how many smileys are there. This has become a problem for the new generation. You can see the teenagers, you can see many of them in our own residence. The moment you get some time, you're not speaking to your next door person, but you are more concerned with your own gadgets. Am I speaking something wrong, or
Yes.
is it true?
No. Right, madam.
Is it true,
Nothing
ma'am?
wrong, ma'am.
Yes. I want, this pandemic taught us technology is going to be only a tool for us, but it is not going to replace the human. Remember, that's what the new theme of 2020 is. The pandemic taught us technology is only a tool, right? Technology is going to help our life, but not going to replace the human beings, right? So this kind of themes are going to evolve over a period of time whenever. So the new poetry, what kind of themes and techniques were started is confessional poetry. So Kamla Das and you can see D'Souza's, these are completely confessional poetry. They're speaking about their life, like how they're, Kamla Das is even more. She's a very, very radical writer. She questions everything which is conventional, and her way of writing made the women liberated in Indian context. That means never thought like, why you always wanted to quarrel with servant maid? See, this is something which is very simple. All the time we have a problem with our help at home. We call them as servant maids, right? ఎప్పుడు చూసినా మన పని వాళ్ళ మీద మనకు చాలా కంప్లైంట్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా. ఈ మనతో పని చేసేవాళ్ళు, మన ఇంట్లో పని చేసేవాళ్ళు, వాళ్ళు మన బానిసలు కాదు, కానీ మనకి ఎప్పుడు కంప్లైంట్స్ ఉంటాయి వాళ్ళ మీద. ఎందుకని? సో దిస్ ఇస్ ఎ సింపుల్ క్వశ్చన్. మీరు అందరూ ఆలోచించండి, మనం ఎందుకు ఇట్లా చేస్తాం, మనం ఎందుకు ఇట్లా మన టైం వేస్ట్ చేసుకుంటామని. అట్లనే వాళ్ళు చేసే పనికి, మనం చేసే పనికి, మనం కొంచెం చదువుకున్నాం, మనం పెద్ద ఉద్యోగం చేస్తాం, మనం కూడా ఒక సిస్టమ్ లో పని చేస్తాం. వాళ్ళు వాళ్ళ స్థాయిని బట్టి, వాళ్ళకు ఉన్నటువంటి పని చేసేటువంటి నైపుణ్యాన్ని బట్టి వాళ్ళు మన ఇంట్లో మనకు హెల్ప్ చేస్తారు. యాక్చువల్గా వాళ్ళు హెల్ప్ చేస్తున్నారు మనకి కదా, కానీ మనం వాళ్ళని మేడ్ అంటే సర్వెంట్ లాగా చూస్తున్నాం, ఒక బానిస లాగా చూస్తున్నాం. సో మన మెంటాలిటీ ఎందుకు అట్లా ఉంటుంది ఆలోచించండి. సో ఇది క్వశ్చన్ చేస్తుంది కమలా దాస్, గుర్తు పెట్టుకోండి. ఆమె నేను ఎప్పుడు పని వాళ్ళతో కొట్లాడను అంటుంది. కొట్లాడాలని నాకు ఆలోచన రాదు అంటుంది. కానీ జనరల్ గా ఎప్పుడు దీని గురించి చాలా చర్చ జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది మన డే టు డే లైఫ్ లో కదా. ఇట్లా చాలా సింపుల్ థింగ్స్, అంటే మన డే టు డే లైఫ్ లో జరిగే విషయాలు కన్ఫెషనల్ మోడ్, అంటే మనం ప్రతిదీ చెప్పుకోవడం అనమాట. ఆ రకంగా చెప్పేటువంటి కన్ఫెస్ చేస్తూ చెప్పేదాన్ని మనం కన్ఫెషనల్ పోయిటరీ అంటాం. అండ్ కమలదాస్ ఇస్ అ వెరీ గుడ్, నాట్ ఓన్లీ విత్ సింపుల్ మండేన్ థింగ్స్ నుంచి కూడా వెరీ సీరియస్ అండ్ డీప్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఇష్యూస్ ని కూడా ఆమె రైజ్ చేస్తారు. అండ్ ఎక్స్పెరిమెంటల్ పోయట్రీ, సో Hoskote, Sudeep Sen, and Kolatkar, these are the people, they started experimenting with the language, right? Queer poetry, Hosang Merchant, I know him very well. He's a very senior teacher for us in Hyderabad Central University. When I was reading, I was a student there. Hosang is a very excellent, he's a proclaimed gay, and nothing wrong in that. It is one of the genre in gender. And Hosang Merchant is still alive, and he's a Hyderabad Central University professor when we were reading, and now he got retired. And queer poetry, so people used to think like queer in the sense LGBT community, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and this is not a disease. Remember, మనం ఇది అర్థం చేసుకోవడానికి ఇంకా కొంచెం టైం పడుతుంది, కానీ మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి. ఇప్పుడు కాలు బాగాలేని, అంటే ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్పి దెన్ వి గో ఫర్ ది అదర్. కాలు బాగలేదు, పోలియో వచ్చింది, వాళ్ళని మనము హెల్ప్ చేయాలా అనుకుంటామా, లేక వాళ్ళని అవాయిడ్ చేస్తామా చెప్పండి? వి హెల్ప్ దెమ్, రైట్? ఓకే, అది ఏమన్నా జబ్బా?
నో మ్యామ్.
నో, రైట్? ఓకే, మనం అంతా కూడా దీంట్లో అగ్రి అవుతాం కదా. ద సేమ్ థింగ్ హ్యాపెన్స్ విత్ many of the LGBT community. At the time of the conceiving, the mother conceives inside the baby. The baby has got some organs which looks like male, genitals are like male, and the psychology is like female. Are you getting me? The genitals are male and psychology is female. Sometimes genitals are female. This is anatomy. అంటే కాళ్ళు చేతులు ఉన్నట్టుగానే పునరుత్పత్తి ఉన్నటువంటివన్నీ కూడా ఒక మూసలో కాకుండా స్త్రీకి ఉండాల్సినటువంటి అనాటమీ, అంటే స్త్రీకి ఉండాల్సినటువంటి ఫిజికల్ ఆర్గన్స్ ఫీమేల్ కు ఉండడము, అండ్ ఫీమేల్ కు ఉన్నవి మేల్ కు ఉండడము, కానీ వాళ్ళకున్న భావాలు మాత్రం మేల్ గా ఉండడం, అది వాళ్ళకి అనాటమీలో వస్తుంది. అది వాళ్ళ తప్పు అవుతుందా, లేక అది ఒక ప్రాబ్లమా, ఒక సైంటిఫిక్ ప్రాబ్లమా? సైంటిఫిక్ గా ఆ వ్యక్తికి ఉన్నటువంటి ప్రాబ్లం. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, కొద్ది మంది పిల్లలకి మెదడులో చిన్న నరువు లావు అవ్వడము, లేదా సమ్ చిల్డ్రన్ హ్యాస్ గాట్ సమ్ హోల్ ఇన్సైడ్ ద హార్ట్, లేదా దే హ్యావ్ గాట్ సమ్ ఈ బ్లడ్ అనేటువంటి తక్కువగా పుట్టడము, లేదా ఒక కాలు చేయి సరిగ్గా లేకపోవడం, లేదా కన్ను సరిగ్గా లేకపోవడం, లేదా ఇద్దరు పిల్లలు కలిసి పుట్టడం, ఇవన్నీ కూడా సైంటిఫిక్ గా అగ్రి చేసే మనము ఎల్జిబిటీకి సంబంధించింది జనరల్ గా మనం అసలు పేరెంట్స్ కూడా అది ఒక సోషల్ ట్యాబుగా ఫీల్ అవుతారు కదండి. సో యాజ్ అన్ ఎడ్యుకేటెడ్ పర్సన్, స్పెషలీ ఫ్రమ్ ఎ లిటరేచర్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్, యూ షుడ్ ఆల్వేస్ హ్యావ్ అన్ ఎంపతి టువర్డ్స్ దట్ పీపుల్. అందుకనే క్వీర్ లిటరేచర్, క్వీర్ పోయిటరీ కూడా వీ షుడ్ ఆల్వేస్ గివ్ ఎన్, వీ షుడ్ నెవర్ హేట్ దెమ్ ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్. అన్నిటికంటే బాధాకరం ఏమంటే 10-12 సంవత్సరాల పిల్లలు ఇంట్లోంచి బయటకు వెళ్ళిపోతే వాళ్ళ దగ్గరికి ఎక్కువగా మనము జనరల్ గా ఏదైనా ప్రాబ్లం వస్తే చిన్నప్పుడు ఎవరి దగ్గరికి వెళ్తామండి? మదర్ అండ్ ఫాదర్, రైట్? ఫాదర్ అండ్ మదర్ అండ్ ఫ్యామిలీ, అంతే కదా. అన్ననో అక్కనో చెల్లినో వాళ్ళ దగ్గరికి వెళ్తాం కదా. ఈ క్వీర్ పీపుల్ ఎందుకని ఇంట్లో వదిలేస్తారు ఒకసారి
అంటే వాళ్ళు మదర్ చెప్పుకోలేరు మేడం వాళ్ళ ప్రాబ్లం,
పేరెంట్స్ సపోర్ట్ లేకుండా.
Probably madam is disconnected due to
Yeah.
no power.
నేను కూడా షాప్ అదే షాప్ కి వెళ్ళాను స్కూల్ ఇంటికే రాని ఇందుకు నాకు షాపింగ్ మీరు పెద్దగా ఉన్నప్పుడు నేను ఎక్కువ షాపింగ్ చేయను ఇష్టం ఉంటుంది షాపింగ్ కూడా డ్యూటీలో ఉంటే బస్ వస్తే ఏమంటే ఇట్లాంటి రోజు షాపింగ్ వెళ్ళి వస్తారు డ్యూటీలో ఉన్నప్పుడు షాపింగ్ అంటే మళ్ళీ ఏం కొనను సాటిస్ఫాక్షన్ ఎక్కడ ఆపకుండా లేకుండా ఏదైనా వెళ్ళినప్పుడు అట్లా ఆగి షాపింగ్ చేసేస్తా కానీ తింపిండు మేడం వస్తా అంటే వచ్చిందాక ముక్క గంటల పడలేదు కానీ చాలా షాపింగ్ చేసి ఒక నైట్ కొన్నా ఒక బ్లౌజ్ తీసుకున్నా సిరికి పెట్టుకోవడం కోసం షాప్కి వెళ్ళాను అని కొన్నా
Jyoti, I think Jyoti, you can mute yourself. Jyoti, mute చేసుకోమా. Jyoti, can someone call Jyoti and can someone call Jyoti? She has got the number, right? You can see the number? No. Jyoti, unnava? Yes.
బయట రావాలంటే లోపల అంతే రెడీ
Yeah, let us go with because even I think Jyoti is not there and still have to go on. Ajay, are you there? Is it my voice clear?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Let me go with 1970s and 80s. Just last 5 minutes on the Manako. We'll complete that and we'll go for that. Confessional poetry, experimental poetry, queer poetry, satire. Satire means Vyangam anamata. Nature poetry. So these are some poetries which are in the genres and the self. Jyoti, ekkadunama? Mute chesko talli. Okay, let me go with another, the self. This is again, what is the self? Poets writing about 1970s. So you can see in 125 page about poetry of the diaspora, people who migrated from one place to the other. So nature, environment and poetry. Again, these are very, very important when it comes to genres. Romantic poetry, we call it as, Wordsworth, Keats and all. But this nature poetry is different from the poetry which they wrote, right? Again, in this new poetry, it's a neo-romanticism, we call it. So it's a new romanticism. And in the unit 17, we are focusing on Nizam Ezekiel and his work, as we rightly pointed out, Night of the Scorpion. Many of you might have read about this poem. Very simple poem where in 1960s and 64, he is a very most famous poet, page number 134, okay? Taught the World Over was first published in his collection with the exact name in 1965. And this poem begins with an impersonal narration regarding the scorpion. So, scorpion ante enti Telugulo telu anamata. Ee telu antaru kada, telu oka chinna అది కుట్టినప్పుడు ఆ కుట్టిన బాధతో ఆ చిన్న పిల్లవాడు ఏం చేస్తాడు, ఇంట్లో ఉన్న వాళ్ళు ఉన్నటువంటి పరిస్థితి ఏంటి, ఇవన్నీ కూడా మనం దీంట్లో చూడొచ్చు. The way it was described after having sung the narrator's mother. 10 hours of stead rain had driven him to crawl beneath a sack of rice, parting with his poison flash of diabolic tale in the dark room. He risked the rain again. So it's about simple, very simple, very simple. Jyoti. Okay, you can see Night of the Scorpion is given in a very good background and casually. And in the Patriot is 138 page. Can you see that? It's a very Indian poems in Indian the Patriot, and basically both the poems are published in Sahitya Academy in a volume called as Latter Day Zams in 1982. Okay, so in that way, Nizam Ezekiel's, from examination point of view, what are the specifically Indian features of Nizam Ezekiel poetry? So how he is a confessional poetry, or how neoclassicism reflected in his poetry is one of the examination point of view. Okay, so this is in 141 page number. So the last is A.K. Ramanujan. A.K. Ramanujan's Small Scale Reflections on a Great House. This is a very beautiful poem, and you can enjoy this poem if you read page number 146. And 147 is obituary. So we all know about obituary. When someone is expired and he's no more or she is no more, we can see that. A River is a beautiful poem describing how the river, what kind of qualities a river has got. This is reflected in a river. Do we have a contact of Jyoti? Someone can tell Jyoti to mute herself. Anyone of you know Jyoti? Chaitra, Gayatri, Nisi, Sajida, Shilpa, Sujata. See, this is a nuisance from Jyoti, right? We can't do anything in online classes. I just have to inform them.
We don't have.
See, they opened that and they don't know they have done it, and finally. Yeah,
Madam,
a river.
if you have admin rights, you can mute her.
Yeah, actually, I'm not the administrator because right now I'm logging in from my residence. And today I'm not in the university. If not, I might have done it without even asking anyone. Right, baby? Yeah, thank you so much. So we completed. This is very important in examination point of view. A.K. Ramanujan. A River is again, all the three poems are important and you will enjoy reading it. Try to, from examination point of view, also Nizam Ezekiel and A.K. Ramanujan are very, very important. Okay. The last drama part, Mahesh Dattani's Final Solution. This is in contemporary writings. Mahesh Dattani is still alive, and his poems, if you are in Vizag or Vijayawada or in Hyderabad, or if you are in Chennai, you can see his plays almost every year, 2-3 times. It's getting played again and again. This is a very fun oriented and sarcastic remarks we can see from this Final Solutions. And the play is concentrating more on the main theme of this is about multiple strands, right? So how in which way the families work, a recurrent see generally in the joint families or the nuclear families, what kind of solution. I mean, this is about solutions, right? Generally we don't find solutions in the families, right? We always have only conversations. We don't find like final solutions. But generally, this story is very interesting story, and the plot is very, very complicated as well as simple, and you will be enjoying it when it comes to the title and the chorus. This is very important in his play. The question may be from the examination point of view, what is the title and how the title is related to chorus. Chorus in the sense why the chorus is going to play a vital role. Can you see page number 158? Any one of you? Do you have the book with you? Please take page number 158. So this is a direct question. Nisi, you want to tell something, Nisi?
No, ma'am, please carry on.
Okay. Yeah, Unit 20 is Indian women's poetry. So the last class, we are just going to have a glance of everything. And the last class, one more class will be there for you on next Saturday, 23rd of this month. And trust you are all going to have a glimpse of what is going to be there in all the courses, in all the classes I'll be there. And the last class, Sujit is going to come and join you, okay? Indian poetry, we can see gender identity, how it is different from patriarchy and feminism and the reinvention. This, even from this point of view, page number 165, some works of Indian writers, Indian feminist writers and Indian women writers. See, feminism is not something which everyone has to. Generally, people think like feminists are not good and they hate men or something like that. No, women literatures are more about inclusion. They always discuss about the masculinity and femininity and how what kind of tensions and anxieties are caught in between. Okay, so the 20 units we got completed, and page number 171. Do you have book with you? All of you have book with you? Page number 171 and 172, you have a model examination questions as well. Okay. With this, we completed whole 4 chapters, 4 blocks with 20 chapters. And read well if you have any queries, and if you want to discuss, the last class is still open and you can get back to me on this class. Okay, on that day. Okay, so someone raising hand. Shilpa, yeah, Shilpa, unmute. Yeah, tell me, what is it?
Madam, where should we submit the assignments, madam? Or Secunderabad OU or Jubilee Hills, ma'am?
You are a second year student. You can directly go to PG college. And because even here inside the Ambedkar University, anytime you came to the university, Shilpa?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you know me in person? Do you know me in person, Shilpa? Okay.
Yeah, I know,
So you